Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles. Let's get started with some Carole King. All right. I feel the earth move under my feet. I feel the sky tumbling down. I feel my heart start to trembling whenever you're around. Ooh, baby, when I see your face, mellow as a month of May. Ooh, darling, I can't stand it when you look at me that way. Hey, I feel the earth move under my feet. I feel the sky tumbling down, tumbling down. I feel my heart start to trembling whenever you're around. Ooh, darling, when you're near me and you tenderly call my name, I know my emotions are something I just can't tame. I just got to have you, baby. Ooh, I feel the earth move. I feel the earth move under my feet. I feel the sky tumbling down. I feel the earth move under my feet. Oh, I just lose control. Oh, all over, all over, all over, yeah. Ooh, darling. Oh, I know that my emotions are something I just can't have. Feel the earth move.
Good morning. How are you today, Karen? We lost her.
I'm
There
great.
she is. Good morning. Welcome, Karen Hammack, everyone.
Thank
Our
you.
musical artist today. What a pleasure it is to have you here with us today
Glad to be here.
on this first Sunday in the year 2022. A real joy to have you come with us today on this journey of technology and sharing sharing our
Yes.
divinity as we navigate the transformation of life right before our very eyes, right? So,
In
well, I'm
the
so
age of
excited to,
Zoom.
yes, I'm so excited to share this time with you. We haven't had you as a part of the CSL group since we were live back in April. So it's a
I
real joy and
remember.
a pleasure to be with you today and to hear you share your gifts and share some beautiful music that touches your soul, both personally as well as other artists' music. So
Mm.
we'll be hearing more from you. So thank you for being here.
All right. Thank you.
Good. See you in a bit.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. I am Reverend Dr. Keith Cox, the spiritual leader here at the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles. If you have navigated your way into our Zoom room, you are um, technologically adept because our link got changed this morning, and there's no mistake that our theme for the month of October is the transformational nature of nature. And in as much as many would think that Zoom and technology isn't nature, it's all just interconnected. So I'm happy you're here. If there are friends of yours that you'd like to have be here that aren't, please feel free to pass out the link that I sent to everybody. If you've made it to us through Facebook, we're happy to know that the new link linked us to Facebook as well. And this will be the link that we'll be using for the next, I believe, 20 occurrences, is how it's now set up at Facebook. But no matter how you got here, no matter how you are where you are, no matter what journey we each have been on in life, and it has definitely been a journey for the last 48 hours, I welcome you. I am the spiritual leader here at the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles, and we come together on Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. to connect, to bring forth within us a remembrance of who we are and the power that we're each imbued with and indwelled with. And so that's what this time together is all about. It's about us sharing in community, albeit not in the physical sense in this moment, a recollection, a recognition of the infinite power of the divine that exists by means of you. We're going to open our welcoming part of the service with a couple of slides of multimedia. I'm going to put that on the screen right now, and I invite you to let's walk along together on that. We are the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles, and we want to welcome you into our home today, our virtual home. We open our service on Sunday mornings with the act of Namaste. I'm sure you've all heard this before, many of you have, and somewhat consider it rote. But today I'd like for us to open up into a new way of feeling the presence within us and bowing to it as this guiding force that's forever present in our lives, no matter what is going on in the external world itself. And then to honor and acknowledge that within all sentient beings of life. And so we place our hands together in prayer position as we see with this beloved being of light on the screen. The act of Namaste in its modern world is I bow, is the power of the divine within me honors and acknowledges the power that is within you. The literal sense of it is I bow to you. And so today let's bow to both the power within us and the life force within each other by moving into this act of Namaste. And so we take a deep breath in and exhale. Another deep breath in and exhale. Looking into the screen as if we're looking into the eyes of the beloveds. Raising our hands in prayer position to our mouth for blessings, to our intuition for guidance, back to our mouth so that we may speak kind words and love, back to our heart, bowing forward and say together, Namaste. I bow to thee, the power within. Here at the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles, we are a community that has welcomed all races, all religions, all countries of origins, all sexual orientations, all genders, all abilities in life. My favorite quote, as I say every Sunday morning of Ernest Holmes, is Spirit has placed the stamp of individuality upon itself and called it you. Today, this welcoming remembrance reminds us that life is one source, one energy, one thing, but it expresses itself uniquely by means of each and every individual walking this planet. And so today, let's honor the individual nature of the divine that expresses itself by means of each one of us and all others, and affirm out loud together, as our founding minister, Dr. David Walker, did for many years, we welcome one and we welcome all. As I said before, as a community, we've come together for over 30 years now to focus on the philosophy, the faith, the way of life known as the teachings of the science of mind. It's a compilation of all the world's great religions and put together, I'd like to say in a concise way, but that may be a little bit stretching the truth there, but it's put together in a way of teaching a philosophy, faith, and way of life that we're all spiritual beings. We're all interconnected by the one force called life itself. That there is a supreme being, if you will, a creative force, and we can call it whatever we want in life because it matters not what we call it. What matters more than anything is that we call it. The way that we call it is through our thoughts, our actions, our reactions, and our interactions with the very thing itself. And because we live in a universe that is governed by spiritual law, the way that we act, react, interact with it, and express it, and receive it shows up in our life as life experiences, the experience of life that is broken down into what we call circumstances, conditions, experiences, demonstrations, manifestations, the effect of life. And so we practice fine-tuning our thinking, fine-tuning the way that we live, fine-tuning the way that we show up in life, and most importantly, fine-tuning to the best of our ability how we respond and react to life with the intention to reflect the qualities of the divine that we're imbued with. In this New Thought philosophy, those include peace and power, beauty and joy, light, life, love, and wisdom, just a few. And so today, let's open ourselves up to remember those in a new way. Peace and power and beauty and joy and light and life and love and wisdom in a new way. And then from there, begin to support each other, those unique expressions of life, in a new way by fulfilling our vision statement, which is indeed supporting individuals finding their personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. So today I invite each one of us to open to a greater spiritual awakening. Greater, not necessarily better than anything before, but just greater meaning it's more expansive and reflective of the nature of the divine that exists within all of us. We're going to open this morning with our ritual called Calling in the Light. This ritual is very personal to me this morning, and I'll share with you the reason for that in just a moment. But let's all hear this anew as well. It's called Calling in the Light, and as we look at the flickering flame of the orb of light on the screen, I invite us all to take a deep breath in, become more and more aware of the presence within, and do our ritual, Calling in the Light. Today we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples and all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call spirit. The purpose of this ritual is to draw into our gathering this morning a conscious awareness of our oneness and the qualities that we possess as complete expressions of the divine. I spoke of those qualities just a moment ago. So as we feel the vibrations shift during this experience, may we become ever more aware of the light of life that exists in and all expressions of life, which includes you and it includes me. I'd like to have us metaphorically light this candle to represent these qualities of life. The first is peace, and as we light this today, may we honor the inherent divine state of inner calm that exists within all of us, regardless of any chaos unfolding within or around us. We light it also for power. Power, we acknowledge, is the energy by which everything lives, even if it's transitioned from this physical state. We also light it for beauty. Beauty is defined in metaphysical sense as a personal expression in which high spiritual qualities are made manifest. We also light it for joy. Joy is defined as that inner state that is the impetus of the emotion that is excited by the expectancy of good. And we light it for light. Light is the symbol of universal intelligence, as well as we light it for life, which is defined as the animating principle of being, that inner something that makes everything live. And we light it for the quality of love. I share this photo on the screen, which represents love to me. Love is the self-givingness of spirit through the desire of life to express itself. The gentleman on the screen is my mother's significant other. His name is Butch Hand. He passed away yesterday, and my dear mother and our family is mourning the loss of this man who was such a being of love. I'd like to share with you my post regarding him this morning and invite us all to bring his energy and his family, both biological and chosen, into the realm of this candle that we have lit. I posted, I invite those in my world who practice a personal manner of prayer to do so for my mom, Peggy Cox, as she mourns the loss of her life partner, Butch Hand. He passed away peacefully yesterday after a life very well lived. These two had such a wonderful long term partnership, steeped in love, respect, honor, laughter, fun, adventure, and more. He was the kindest and most generous man with a big heart and a good soul. He was a real gentleman who consciously made the world a better place by simply showing up. And showing up, he did. He had a life that was very, very well lived. We often light the candle on Sunday mornings as the healing candle. I'd like for us to take a moment and see the healing candle lighting up. And I invite you all to silently put into the light of this healing flame anyone, including Butch and my mom Peggy, and any of their loved ones and all of their loved ones, a greater experience of the eternal and everlasting love of the divine. We're going to now sing the song Calling in the Light. Karen's going to come on the screen and take us through that. The lyrics will be on the screen for this call and response song. Karen, I hand it over to you.
Calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love, calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love. I am love, I am peace, I am heart, I am free, I am spirit, I am soul, all together we are whole. Calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love, calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love.
And so it is. Thank you. Thank you. Such a pleasure to have you here with us this morning. I know you have a rich history in the music business. You were posting this week all kinds of people you've worked with over the years, and Helen Reddy and many, many others. And
Right.
yeah,
Yes, Melissa Manchester, and but my first road gig that I did, I was 19 years old, and it was with a blues artist named Johnny Guitar Watson.
uh-huh.
So I have run the gamut, which is fantastic. It's
Well,
fantastic.
wonderful, wonderful. Well,
Thank you,
I'm
Pat.
so happy that you were introduced to us, and I'm really happy that you're about to play this song for us, which I think has such significant meaning given where we are today in the transformational nature of nature. So I believe it's I Am Light.
Yes,
Correct?
it is.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between and beyond, I give you Karen Hammack singing I Am Light.
Thank you. I am light, I am light. I am light, I am light. I am light, I am light. I'm not the things my family did. I'm not the voices in my head. I'm not the pieces of the brokenness inside. I am light. I'm not the mistakes that I have made, or any of the things that cause me pain. I'm not the pieces of the dream I left behind. I am light. Ooh, I'm not the color of my eyes. I'm not the skin on the outside. I'm not my age. I'm not my race. My soul is all light. We are light. Ooh, I am light. Oh, I am light.
Such a beautiful song that just captures what we teach here in the philosophy, faith, and way of life known as the science of mind. Captures that we are that essence of light. My acronym for light is living in God's healing truth. And we get to each decide what that truth is. So, yeah, wonderful. Thank you, Karen. And so we kick off a new month, the month of October, and I'd like to share with you this writing by James Baldwin. For nothing is fixed forever and forever and forever. It is not fixed. The earth is always shifting. The light is always changing. The sea does not cease to grind down rock. Generations do not cease to be born. And we are responsible to them because we are the only witness they have. The sea rises, the light fails. Lovers cling to each other, and children cling to us. The moment we cease to hold each other, the moment we break faith with one another, the sea engulfs us, and the light goes out. Nothing Personal by James Baldwin. I love this poem, I believe it is, because it speaks to this forever transformational nature of nature, the theme for our month this month. We're all aware in the external right now of the changing of the leaves. Even in Southern California, we see that. We feel the temperatures change. We watch the light change itself. It's certainly darker earlier in the evening and darker later in the AM. We can feel the energy change that has taken place on our planet, and we can feel it and see it. I was out on my morning walk yesterday morning with the little Miss Sweeney, and the squirrels are out, it seems like in a different way, and one had a nut in its mouth, and it reminded me of their need to go and forage and place food away, and the ever-changing nature of nature as it does its thing, because it's forever doing its thing. We witnessed that this week with Hurricane Ian that moved through our planet with great force, and many would say also great destruction. And it is that death oftentimes that is the transformational nature of nature, so that life may show up in a new way. Within this nature of nature, there is intelligence that is built in for it to invoke this change, this shift to do so, to adapt to the conditions and the circumstances surrounding it, as well as to be cause and creation to the change around it. We're one with that. And we have within us intelligence and wisdom, because we're beings that are imbued with free will and choice, and we're individualized expressions of the mind of God. This freedom and this choice to invoke change in our life, but to do it intentionally, to decide in life whether or not we get to live in a state of change that is a result of our conscious participation in it or as a result of our reaction to it. In other words, as mental beings, we can live life with change, evolution, being a result of inspiration as opposed to so often what is called desperation. One of my great teachers, Dr. Maureen Hoyt, says that so often in life we go through life having spiritual awakenings without a doubt. But they're either guided by one type of event or the other in life, inspiration or desperation. And so today, as we move into kicking off this month of the transformational nature of nature, I would like for us to open ourselves to the possibility of these spiritual awakenings, these transformations of nature within us, expressing itself at us, to certainly be a death of what was, but is geared and focused on an awakening that is coming from that. That we are playing a conscious, conscientious role to the dying out of the old, to be open and receptive and a participant in the revealing of that which is new. A reminder that our vision statement here, and it's certainly one I created for us, and I trust we all abide by it and agree with it, is we're each on a journey. And our journey is that of finding personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. As a community, we're here to support individuals do that. But I want us all to be reminded on a daily basis, individually, of where are we each on this journey? Are we feeling personally self-empowered? And if not, how can we find that within us? And to know that that is indeed through a spiritual awakening, a fine-tuning into the transformations that are indeed taking place. And researching for today, pulling up the concept of a natural transformation is defined in this, and I didn't know this before, and I think it's very appropriate for what we're speaking of today. Natural transformation is defined as, in category, a theory, a branch of mathematics, something I'm not really good at it, but a branch of mathematics. A natural transformation provides a way of transforming one functor into another while respecting the internal structure. I love this concept. I feel it's most appropriate that we can adapt that to what we can go through as sentient, awake, conscious, conscientious beings on how we want to create, co-create, and navigate our life. That it's a natural process that we're going through, and this natural process of thinking, of reacting, responding, reacting, of interacting, thinking, responding, interacting, reacting, interacting to life itself, understanding that it's all about awakening to a new idea, to move to a higher vibrational frequency that reflects our innate qualities of the divine. All of that is taking place in what oftentimes appears to be the external, or certainly reacting to, that is actually an internal process that is happening while the internal structure of the nature of creation is never, ever, ever changing. And so our role then, as we lean into this transformation in our own life, is to do it with intention, through inspiration and faith, to move through an intentional and conscious restructuring of our ideology in life while understanding the innate structure of the makeup of life itself never changes. What we're speaking of here is having a spiritual transformation, if you will. A spiritual transformation involves a fundamental change in a person's sacred or spiritual life. Now, certainly one can interpret that to be a fundamental change in one's behavior, a fundamental change in one's ideology, of course. But I would like for us to look at it as a fundamental change, as evolving into a higher mindset, a higher consciousness, 20th century terminology, a higher vibrational frequency, 21st century terminology, that reflects who and what we are as expressions of the oneness of life itself. Psychologists have examined spiritual transformation within the context of an individual's meaning system, especially in relationships to concepts of the sacred or ultimate concern. In other words, what's the power? Who's the power? What's this God thing, right? Or what role do I play in it? What is the meaning of life? What is the meaning of death? What is the meaning of oneness? Are my beliefs and ideology and the power, God, whether you have a good relationship with that word or not, the same as it was 10 weeks ago, 10 days ago, 10 months ago, 10 years ago? And if so, shake it up, baby, because it's through this process of fine-tuning and evolving and playing with it through experimentation that we are in this movement of transformation. Pargamot, a guy who was referenced in the study regarding spiritual transformation, holds that at its heart, spiritual transformation refers to a fundamental change in the place of the sacred or the character of the sacred in the life of the individual, telling us that it's not about the collective ideology, collective belief system, it's about the individual. That's not discounting the collective, but it's telling us it's all about your mind. One of the things that drew me into this teaching, and I'm sure you, was change your thinking, change your life. That's the catalyst to spiritual transformation. Spiritual transformation, Pargamot tells us, can be understood in the terms of a new configuration of strivings, of yearnings, of wants, of desires. What is it that you desire today to have as a new perspective, a new change, a new understanding and participation in the sacred? And can we do that without it being stimulated from a state of darkness or desperation? Eckhart Tolle writes about, so often it's through the dark night of the soul that this rising up happens. And I'm sure we each have been through it, and sometimes the dark night lasts an hour, and sometimes it lasts months and weeks and days, and sometimes a lifetime. But the end result of the dark night of the soul, if one is tuned in to this evolutionary process of spiritual transformation, is that they awaken. And they awaken, Tolle writes, into something deeper which is no longer based on concepts in your mind. It's a deeper sense of purpose or connectedness with the greater life that exists, a greater life that's not dependent on explanations or anything conceptual any longer. It's a kind of rebirth. The dark night of the soul is a kind of death, that you die. But what dies is the egoic sense of self. And this can also happen through the light night of the soul. But the death, as so often death is, can be painful. Even though in all reality, through this transformation, nothing real, nothing tangible has died here, only an illusory identity. What he's telling us here is that it's through this illusion that we are separate from life itself. That's what dies. When we're willing to let go and go into that deeper place of I am light, of letting the light guide us from moment to moment to moment. It's a transformational spiritual awakening. To know that I know that I know that I know that I am light, and not through the intellect, through the internal feeling and awareness. This is part of the awakening process, the death of the old self and the birth in the new self. The first lesson in A Course in Miracles says, nothing I see in this room means anything. And when that's stated, you're supposed to look around the room at whatever you may be looking at, and you say, this does not mean anything. That doesn't mean anything. Well, what is the purpose, it's asked, of a lesson like that? Well, it's a little bit like recreating what can happen during the dark night of the soul. It's the collapse of mind-made meaning, a conceptual meaning of life, believing that you understand what it's all about, where in reality it's this voluntary relinquishment of the human mind-made meaning that is projected. And through this projection, you're willing to move into this collapse, this voluntary collapse of saying, I don't know what any of this means, but I am open to a new idea. I'm open to a new experience. I'm open to a new way of being. I'm open to heeding the strivings that are rising up and coming from that thing itself within me. We are the nature of nature incarnate. And we have the capacity and the ability to participate in our own shift. In the article, New Thought Wisdom in Times of Turmoil, Dr. Jim Lockhart writes, first quoting Nayura Wahid regarding meditation, if the ocean can calm itself, so can you. We are both salt water mixed with air. What we're taught as New Thought students, and one of our first tasks, principles, is that we're to take dominion to the best of our ability over our thoughts and our emotions and our actions in life. That what we're called to do in this calling, this honoring of the strivings to grow and evolve, is to calm our being and to move to a greater realization of spiritual poise. And it's only then when we move into this space, this is the act of leaning into inspiration as opposed to responding to desperation, that we can then be effective in bringing the highest consciousness possible to us, to ourselves, and ultimately to the world. In this journey of awakening in this way, it doesn't mean that we don't feel our feelings. It doesn't mean that we're not tuned in when injustice or tragedy in life events occur. It's natural for us to navigate our human life sometimes with sadness and anger and rage and frustration and joy and happiness and more. But it's important to know that as we feel these feelings on this journey of finding our personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening arise, that we oftentimes feel that they're arising from our reactive self, where we can train ourselves to be the inner observer to what is unfolding in life and observe our feelings as opposed to letting them guide us in a reactionary manner. These New Thought teachings, including the science of mind that we align ourselves with, prepare us in life for times when we're maximally challenged, when we have called forth within us a healing. Dr. Holmes tells us that healing is revealing. Lockhart tells us that we know that healing is revealing, that dis-ease must first reveal itself before it can be healed. We know that much of human behavior is a cry for love and acceptance, and that ignorance and fear lead to the majority of our suffering. Seen from this light, what is occurring in many places in life is the rising of symptoms of a deeper disease on the surface. Today, we're called to have a different perspective if we desire, and follow what we're taught in the New Testament when Jesus says, "Let he who has eyes see." Let he, they, male, female, in between and beyond, who has eyes see. He's not speaking solely about the external eyes. He means that we can only see what the consciousness that we have developed will let us see. And remember, we're calling ourselves into heeding the strivings to live in a higher consciousness. In New Thought, we learn to expand our consciousness to see some of the deeper meanings of life in that place that Tolle talked about, going deeper. And we do that through this heeding process, allowing ourselves to be guided by wisdom. And that wisdom is essential to helping our society move through the healing process that is underway always in life. The key is to open our eyes during these states of transformation. For the transformational nature of nature is at our disposal should we desire that we want to be awakened and conscious participants in this awakening on our journey, ultimately providing for us opportunity to be empowered. Transformation as a way of life, consciously, through spiritual awakening. The great Michael Bernard Beckwith teaches us and has taught us, and some of you are familiar with this from classes I've taught, that there are 4 stages of spiritual awakening. They're to me, by me, through me, and the ultimate is as me. To remind us of these, the first stage, and we all may be there at some time in our life, no matter where we are on the journey of personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening, no matter how evolved we may be, no matter how we may radiate on the vibrational frequency in the Map of Consciousness by David Hawkins, that because it is an ecstatic process, we are always moving in mind, ultimately having radically different experiences, but the objective is to have a deep-rooted foundation that is reflective of our acceptance of our oneness. The first stage, according to Beckwith, is the victim stage. It's life happening to me. It's in this stage that we're in a victim consciousness. We feel disenfranchised from the world, from opportunities, from what we've inherited, and from the universal presence. We're separated, isolated, and alone. And he states that in this state, we often say things such as, something is happening to me in life. I'm a victim. I live believing that something outside of me determines my destiny, my happiness, my success, my well-being. But as we consciously continue to tune into heeding these strivings of the divine, making itself known to us in a new way, and awaken to the principles that we have in this teaching in New Thought, we move into the second stage, which is the manifester stage. It's the by me stage. It becomes more masculine in our energy field as we place it into the creative force of life. Here we use what is often called mind power. We use our creative imagination and visualization in the right way. We have wonderful conversations in life, and we keep our attention high to create a vibrational match of that which we would want to manifest. It's very masculine because we're intentionally using the laws and directing our attention. We're able to make something happen. As you know, I'm going to say it, that age-old thing of, oh, I manifested a parking space, right? And then oftentimes that's the peak. In this stage, we say things such as, I learned to manifest. I use my mind, my conversation, and my spiritual practices, and I begin to use spiritual principles to manifest the kind of life that I can imagine. But as we continue to heed these yearnings and these strivings, we know that there's more to that on this pathway of finding personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening, of living in a transformational way of life. The third stage is to be a channel, or a place through me. Through me is the third stage. This stage is more feminine. It's more receptive. As we've done the work in stage 1 and stage 2, and we've done such rich work in these stages, we have an inner subjective belief that life is for us, that the universe is progressive, and that something wonderful is always trying to happen through us. And we're beginning to learn here to yield to it, to surrender to it, the act of namaste, and then to give over to it. This is a stage in which you go into the zone of the divine. At times you may have peak experience and know that something's operating through you. Languaging at this time would be, I'm yielding, I'm surrendering, I'm allowing, because I've come to an awareness that the order that we all depend on is none that I make. That order already exists. I'm simply yielding to it, I'm surrendering to it, which then leads us to the higher framework of spiritual awakening, which is oneness, as me. According to David Hawkins, the highest of the high of consciousness. The Buddha, Mother Teresa, Yahweh, Jesus, you, and me. In this stage, this line of separation is dissolved, and we feel our oneness with all of life with no filter. How do we get there? And how do we know that how can we know that this state of being helps fine-tune that foundational consciousness, even if it's only a glimmer or a glimpse? Well, we do it by opening up to joy. We do it by opening up and surrendering to the power itself. We do it by being willing to let go, to grow, and to let that power, God, do its thing through us. We do it by setting an intention to have a life of this manner. And to remember and know, as the great Deepak Chopra teaches us, and we've heard this many, many times, that inherent in every intention and desire is the mechanics for its fulfillment. Intention and desire in the field of pure potentiality have infinite organizing power. So what is important for us to remember is our role here is to set the intention for this life. And then to let this organizing power of pure potentiality go to work doing its thing. And then to have faith that it's doing its part so that we can do ours, which is to tend to our thinking, our beliefs, our actions, our reactions, our interactions, our forgiveness, so that we can step up again and tend to our thinking and our beliefs and our actions and our reactions and our interactions and acts of forgiveness and gratitude. And then go back to thinking and believing and acting and reacting and interacting and forgiveness and gratitude and acceptance. And it continues. Chopra tells us that intentions are the triggers for transformation in the body. He says if you want to wiggle your toes, you do it through intention. And so today, let's collectively set an intention by doing it individually. To live in a conscious state of transformation, the transformational nature of nature, to accept the changes that are taking place around us, through us, in us, as us, while understanding that the very thing that gives the ability for these things to change is that which is unchangeable. Let's heed this prayer by Marianne Williamson of, Dear God, I'm willing to see this life differently, is the most powerful prayer for miraculous transformation. The miracle certainly can be that which we've never experienced before. But in A Course in Miracles, a miracle is simply a shift in perspective, a new way of seeing things. And so today, as we begin to fine-tune our new way of seeing things, let's choose where our focus goes. Let's choose to focus on the powerful, euphoric, magical, synchronistic, beautiful parts of life. And as we do so, the universe will keep giving them to us, through us, for they are us. And so today, let's make a change. I want to share with you this conversation that I think is so reflective of what we're being called to do today. Master Poe says, and I invite you to do this, close your eyes. What do you hear? Young Cain answers, I hear the water. I hear the birds. Master Poe asks, do you hear your own heartbeat? Young Cain, no. Master Poe, do you hear the grasshopper which is at your feet? Cain, young Cain, looking down and seeing the insect. Old man, how is it that you hear these things? Master Poe, young man, how is it that you do not? Today's the day to begin to hear not only these things, the grasshopper at our feet, but the yearning and the calling from deep, deep, deep within. And to not only hear it, but to heed it. Thank you, and have a beautiful, beautiful Sunday and the kickoff to fall. Karen's going to come back on and sing her song, her original song called My Beating Heart, which is most fitting on how I closed. Karen?
Thank you so much. I have a beating heart. It beats for all I love. It beats for all I see. It beats for you and me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I have a beating heart. It beats for all I say. It beats for all I love. It beats for come what may. The magic of a summer sky, children's laughter by and by. Your hand in mine, I won't let go. It's joy I'm feeling, this I know. This I know. I have a beating heart. It beats for all I love. It beats for the sky above. The birds singing the beautiful day.
I love that. Um, it's so fitting because it reminds us, just as the young Cain and Master Poe was talking about too. When I look at your eyes, you're like, yeah, I can't believe that came in at the end, right?
No, I just loved what you were. I loved your whole talk. That's why I'm like that.
Well,
I
thank you.
just,
But
I
how it
love.
reminds us we do have a beating heart. And then this morning when you were in rehearsal, you said my beating, and I said, like my mind saying my bleeding heart right now. And we can have both, right? And the key is to remember that, to remember that it's there and what it represents and the force that of life that it is,
Yes,
you know, you
right.
know, and that it's an impersonal. all creative force.
Right.
Thank you.
Simple.
Such lovely, lovely, lovely music. I'm so happy that you're here, and I know
I'm
you're going to be
happy
with
to.
us again in the next few weeks. And I'm glad we've reconnected and that you're here. So I look
I
forward
feel
to
the
sharing
same.
more and more of this with you. So
Okay.
thank you, Karen. So
Okay.
as Karen turns off her camera for a moment, takes a breath before she sings her final song with us that we'll sing along with her, I just want to say a big thank you to all of you for being here today. A very special service. And even though I'm unable to see your faces, I feel your presence as we navigate life itself and know that we are just a beloved community that feels this power of being together as we all consciously choose to live our lives and to awaken day by day and thought by thought in life itself. Let me give myself a little more light there. I am light. I am light. And so, a big thank you to Karen for bringing her talents to us today and her gift of music and her soul and herself. A big thank you to Travis Smith for all the stuff he does to keep us a machine that's working well. And this morning, there was a lot that he did behind the scenes. So, a big thank you to Travis for that and being tuned in first and foremost. For all of that. A big thank you to Robert Hensley, who also works very diligently and hard to keep this machine moving as well and to do our social media and our administrative, and all while being on the road most of the time. I think he's back in Pennsylvania right now as he's in Pennsylvania, I think. So anyway, so a big thank you to Robert for that. A reminder that this week we have a meditation scheduled at 8:30 a.m. on Wednesday morning. If I'm still in town, we're going to do it. If for some reason I leave and go back east for a few days, then I probably will not do that. So watch out for announcements. You'll know one way or the other. Okay. Reminder that the new thought text for the day goes out each morning at 7:30. That we'll continue to do so, and hopefully you're getting those and enjoying those, as well as once it goes out as a text, Robert has converted them into animations that go on social media through Facebook and Instagram and reels and stories and all of that. So please make sure you're following us in those spaces as well. Our next in-person service is October 23rd. I know that feels like it's a ways away, but the Congregation Kolami are in high holy days at the building, and that was the agreement we made with them so that they wouldn't have to break down and set up and break down. So that's where we are with that. So I'm going to put on the screen the method for financial support for our community and invite us all to take a moment and to be a participant in the conscious giving, whatever you may be able to, whatever and however you may be able to do that to support this community as it continues to express itself in all of its magnificence and glory. The way to do that is you can go to our website. The website is csl-la.org. You can click on donate on the donate tab there. When you do that, you can use the app in the App Store. Once again, that'll take you through the ways to do that by clicking on the upper left bars. You can mail in a check. Our address is 1200 North Liberty Avenue, West Hollywood, California, 90038. My phone number is on the screen if you feel the need to call me personally and do that. And so while we all get ready to do that, Karen's going to come back on the screen and take us through our conscious giving song, Love is My Decision.
Love is my decision. It's up to me to give of my heart. Love is my decision. No one can tell me to start. And once I decide to change my mind, Source will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to give of my heart. Love is my decision. No
So beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. We're going to close with a meditation spiritual mind treatment. I invite you all to close your eyes if that feels comfortable for you and to connect to all that has transpired today, whether that be from the moment that we said hello through whatever you did to figure out the new link for Zoom, the new perspective on Namaste, whether that's the honoring of Butch during the lighting of the candle, songs, or the message. Let's just each connect to what has been transformative, what has changed in this last hour. And then take a deep breath in and exhale, feeling the power of life itself. And in feeling the heartbeat, my beating heart, we allow ourselves to be reminded of this force of life that we're imbued with, unfailing by nature. And so as we breathe in again and exhale again, we go deeper. We go deeper, laying the footprint for the pathway to go into the space where we heed these strivings that we have. We honor them knowing that it's the divine calling us into a higher awakening, meaning of higher consciousness. And we trust the pathway that it takes us on. And so we commit to ourselves that as we move forward, the state of mind in which we show up in our thinking, in our actions, in our reactions, in our interactions with life itself is founded and steeped in gratitude, in acceptance, and in being open to spontaneity, knowing that the functions of the external changing are their nature, as is the unchanging nature of the force being its nature. It's called the cause and effect system if we put words to it. The creative nature of life. And so today, we set the intention for this ongoing experiences of awakenings to happen, to be a result of inspiration, living in spirit, not desperation, a disconnect from spirit. That's it. That's it, and that's it. That's what's at work, baby, and we let it be. And say together, and so it is. I'm going to say goodbye to those of you that have joined on Facebook with us today. May you continue to shine your light and know that each imprint that you make on life itself today is calling forth blessings and blessings and blessings. For you make a difference living out your step of individuality that Spirit has placed itself upon you. Thank you for being you in this life. And so it is. Have a fantastic day. Until we meet again.